It's Tuesday, May 17th, and this is now on HNN.
Well, it's a mixed reaction.
Rising case counts move Kauai into the CDC's high-risk level.
You don't ever want to be a community that's been designated as red.
Japan will soon allow some foreign tourists in as part of a new experiment.
They are looking for a work-life balance.
The Honolulu Police Department is challenged with critically low staffing as the search for the next chief continues.
We got all these stories, plus fans congratulate the UH men's volleyball team on a second NCAA championship.
Our team is extremely honored.
We'll take you to the party, coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon. Thanks for watching This Is Now. You got Jonathan and Ashley right here in the HNN Digital Center. Want to get started with this. COVID cases are rising again on the Garden Isle.
And the CDC has moved Kauai County to the red high-risk community level. Sammy Solina just spoke with Mayor Derek Kawakami.
When you saw those most recent Department of Health numbers, overall, what was your reaction to that?
Well, it's a mixed reaction. You don't ever want to be a community that's been designated as red, but when you take a look at the situation in its totality, we also kept our free PCR testing at the convention hall going without skipping a beat, and we got our mobile testing van going out there. And so what that tells me is that our community is trying to do the right thing by, if they feel sick, they're obviously going in to get a test, and they still very much care about this community and fully understand that we are dealing with a virus. And so at this point in time, you know, the positivity rate can be read in a number of ways, but for me as mayor, it shows that our community has begun to really get acclimated to doing things without being told every single day on what they should and shouldn't be doing.
So the CDC recommends that when a community is at high risk in that red zone, that citizens wear a mask indoors. Are you having conversations about changing the mask rule and making that a requirement for indoor spaces?
No, we're not. We think that perhaps we're over those days where we have to require things. You know, at the beginning, it was very necessary to do so. And then our community got vaccinated. And then we start to see a very well-informed community that knows how to respond when the circumstances change. I'll give you case in point. Maybe a month ago, I'd go into Costco and Safeway, and nearly nobody is wearing a mask. And that's both the workers and the customers. We just went in yesterday and it felt like at least half of the people were masking up, and you take a look and observe what type of masks. Of course, people are now wearing a more high quality N95 or KN95, understanding that this type of mask is to help prevent them from getting sick. And so it's, to me, a good sign that people have pivoted and adjusted. They're paying attention to the numbers, and they don't really need to have a requirement in order for them to protect themselves.
So one of the metrics that the CDC uses to put one county in the yellow zone, one county in the red zone, is the number of hospital beds that are available. Overall, how is hospital capacity looking for you all?
It's been stable. You know, one of the benefits that we have here on Kauai is we have a very close relationship with both our HHSC hospital and, of course, at Wilcox Memorial. I just got a text message from the CEO at Wilcox a few days ago saying, "Hey, Mayor, I just want to let you know, yes, the case numbers are rising again, but here at the hospital, we have a very stable situation." They're starting to see a lot of flu, it's a very bad cold going around. And they are seeing some COVID-19 cases, but with all of the treatment available, considering that 72% of our population and a very higher population of our vulnerable and our kupuna have gotten fully vaccinated and boosted, we're not starting to see what we had feared at the very beginning, is having an overabundance of patients trying to access healthcare with very little beds. It seems to be a stable situation, and we hope to keep it that way.
We have a new interview with United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby. He talked to CBS News about the start of the summer travel season and what to expect.
We're not flying as big a schedule as we were before COVID. We're about 13% smaller than we were. That really is about prioritizing operating reliability for customers over the possibility of short-term profits. But we're going to gradually ramp up. But that's the key to making sure we're ready, is don't get out over our skis and ahead of what the system can support right now.
I think we all expected a gas increase because everybody's feeling that.
Right.
But the gas prices rose, the airfare prices rose 18.6% in April. That's a huge jump in 1 month.
Yeah. So really what
Not prices, not gas, prices.
Yeah, it really is about jet fuel prices. Our jet fuel at today's prices, our fuel expense would be $10 billion more than it was in 2019. Jet fuel prices have almost doubled in the past couple of months, and that's really driving the price increases for airlines.
But why don't you eat those prices and let the customers benefit?
Because we can't afford to. I mean, look, we're
no, but it's a serious.
I know, but we're in the recovery mode from COVID, and trying to come out of what was the most devastating crisis in the history of aviation. We've got to get back. We made it. We survived through the crisis, but now at of debt. We got to start paying that down. And so we've at least got to recover the increase in jet fuel prices.
But you are expecting record numbers this quarter, correct?
Well, we're expecting record revenues this quarter, but our profitability is still lower than it was in the pre-COVID era because fuel prices have gone up so much.
Hawaii's key tourism partner, Japan, is trying something new. For the first time since 2020, Japan will allow some foreign tourists into the country. Japan's government announced today that it will accept small package tours from 4 countries: the US, Australia, Singapore, and Thailand, in what's being described as a tourism experiment. Tourists must be triple vaccinated, and they'll need to stick to a fixed schedule and be accompanied by a guide the whole time. The Associated Press reports that the pilot program is expected to begin next week with about 50 participants. Japan's tourism industry shut down when the pandemic began, and foreign tourists are still not allowed to enter. In 2019, Japan saw nearly 32 million visitors. Then in 2020, arrivals dropped by more than 90%. So currently, Japan only allows in 10,000 people from abroad per day, and that includes people like Japan nationals, foreign students, and business travelers only. The Japanese government is reportedly thinking about doubling that daily cap to 20,000. Meanwhile, we've been talking about this a lot. Japanese arrivals to Hawaii have been increasing, but they're still far below the pre-pandemic levels. The COVID outbreak in North Korea is getting worse. Today, officials announced that another 270,000 people had fevers. They did not say how many of those cases were COVID because North Korea lacks testing capacity. Since late April, there have been 1.5 million people with fevers and 57 deaths. Most of North Korea's 25 million people are unvaccinated. To China now, where authorities in Beijing are tightening restrictions on movement even further as efforts to eliminate COVID-19 continue in the country. Officials say anyone who wants to enter a residential compound now must show an up-to-date negative COVID test. Already, the government's strict zero-COVID policies have hit China's economy hard and are deepening global supply chain issues.
President Biden was in Buffalo, New York today to visit the scene of this weekend's deadly supermarket attack.
White supremacy is a poison. It's a poison running through it really is. Running through our body politic. And it's been allowed to fester and grow right in front of our eyes. No more. I mean, no more. We need to say as clearly and forcefully as we can that the ideology of white supremacy has no place in America.
The president and first lady are paying their respects to the victims and meeting with victims' family members, as well as police officers and other first responders. Authorities say the 18-year-old suspect, who was white, explored the Tops-Friendly Market 2 months before the shooting that killed 10 people and injured 3 others. 11 of 13 people shot were black. Officials in Buffalo say they are now concerned about copycat attacks. Here at home, the Honolulu Police Department is finding a way to put more officers on the streets through a pilot program that's changing their hours. Lynn Kawano tells us how it's working.
On April 3rd, officers in 2 districts started working 3 12-hour days per week. It's a test to see if it could help ease staffing shortages.
We think it's been very successful so far. We're seeing about a 10% staffing increase on every watch, which is a huge immediate step to addressing those police beats that were going unfilled every day earlier this year.
The pilot program is taking place in 2 areas, District 4, the Windward Side, and District 5, Kalihi. It's one of several options HPD is trying to beef up the number of officers on patrol. They work longer shifts, 12 hours, but get 4 days off.
This generation, they are looking for a work-life balance. And so, the 312 may be an option for those seeking that work-life balance.
This new schedule gives them the flexibility to be around more, to be a Little League coach, to be a soccer coach, to go to those ballet performances.
The pilot program ends next month. An evaluation will be done after, and the next HPD chief will decide if it should be permanent. HPD has more than 300 vacancies. Offering 4-day weekends could help with recruiting. At the training academy, HPD is also adding more but smaller recruit classes.
We believe that the smaller recruit classes, the recruits will have more individualized attention. And hopefully with more individualized attention, we'll see increases in recruit learning and recruit achievement and a decrease in attrition rates.
Starting next year, a new recruit class will begin every 2 months. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Lynn. And there is a party happening right now. This is a live look at downtown Honolulu, where fans are celebrating the UH men's volleyball team's national championship title, a back-to-back victory for the Bows. Now, this rally is happening at King and Bishop Streets right now. Supporters can take photos with the players and their trophy, and the team will then jump onto a trolley and take a victory ride through Ala Moana and Waikiki. Earlier this morning, the Bows were honored by Governor Ige and Mayor Blangiardi. Here's a snippet from those ceremonies.
As Governor of the state of Hawaii, it is my honor to recognize today, May 17, 2022, as Rainbow Warriors Day in recognition of the University of Hawaii men's volleyball team, the 2022 NCAA champions. Congratulations, Warriors.
And you guys were fearless. You guys attacked that ball every set, time in and time out. And honestly, I was sitting there watching that ball state, and I just knew you guys were going to win. You just had that confidence about you. So say what you will about Long Beach State. This was not an easy victory. You guys fought for it. We all felt that. You did us more pride than you can possibly imagine.
Oh yeah, and our Kyle Chinen is at that party downtown right now. He's behind the camera.
Getting wild there.
He's gonna have much more coming up on First at 4.
Yeah, and Holly's gonna be lit green this afternoon
Green
or
and
this
white.
evening. Very cool, very cool. Let's see how the weather's gonna look for all that action. Here's Guy Hoggy with a chance of severe weather rolling in.
This juicy front's going to drop in, and it's going to drop into Kauai first, and it's going to move down the island chain. So this is tonight at 11, and then tomorrow at 7, just going to be out of reach of Oahu, but there's a chance that it moves to Oahu as well after that. And they were talking about some heavy rain, maybe some thunderstorms that could cause flooding. And then by Thursday morning, it's going to be more widespread, lingering probably through Friday morning. That's according to this rain forecast model. Now, there's a chance that it also backs away a little earlier than that. We are hoping for, and it looks like the weekend should be pretty nice, but we got to get through at least 2 days, maybe a day and a half of wet weather, especially tomorrow is when that thunderstorm and heavy rain threat is highest. And look at those winds. Strong southerlies through Thursday, and then trade winds coming back just in time to clean up the weather for the weekend.
NBC was the first major TV network to announce its fall programming plans yesterday, and many of the network stars were on the red carpet to share their thoughts. Mark Barger has more.
You know, I started on a singing competition.
I know. News that Camila Cabello is joining the Voices coaching panel this fall is not phasing the ever-competitive Blake Shelton.
Who is she again? Who is she?
Camila Cabello.
I think I've heard of her. It doesn't. Is she?
Yes.
She's not a successful voice coach, and she's not going to be.
What might phase Shelton is the return of his wife, Gwen Stefani, to the coaching panel.
When Gwen's on set, it keeps the old grandpa happy. It's like when Gwen's not there, he gets kind of like ornery.
Also new on Monday nights this fall, the 90s sci-fi hit Quantum Leap returns, with Raymond Lee starring in what's being billed as a continuation of the original time travel drama that starred Scott Bakula.
It's a cool, fresh take on something that was already so magical, and so we're just happy to be able to continue that journey and then add our own stuff to it, add our own flavor to it.
Also new this fall will be the Friday comedy Lopez vs. Lopez, with George Lopez starring with his real-life daughter, Mayan.
I get to, admire him more as a father, but as an artist as well.
I couldn't get her to take her dishes to the sink, and then we got a show. I mean, that's quite a coming up.
New Amsterdam is also back for a fifth and final season, but only after a harrowing season finale coming up next week.
Yeah, I might get in trouble for this, but there is a hurricane coming, and it's going to hit New York. There will be some tears. Yeah. And I like to say this, always, no one is safe.
And with This Is Us ending next week as well,
I think it's time to start saying goodbyes.
it promises to be a tearful Tuesday. Mark Barker, NBC News.
Cool, Quantum Leap's back.
I don't
love
think
that
I've
show.
ever seen an episode of Quantum Leap.
Catch up, my friend.
Really?
I'm sure they're on a streaming service out there somewhere.
Huh,
It
okay.
really was like one of my favorites of the 80s.
Oh, wow.
I think it was on in the lineup at the same time as Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay.
So it was like a very spooky
Sure.
night of prime time when it was on.
All right.
All right, speaking of sci-fi, let me start by saying this. Even after today's congressional hearing, there is still no government confirmation of alien life out there. Testifying before a House Intelligence Committee, Pentagon officials did not disclose additional information from their ongoing investigation of hundreds of unexplained sightings. So Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence Scott Bray says the DoD is organizing all the reports on UFOs, but he also had this to say. I want to play out a clip of what he was talking about a recent sighting. He showed some video there at the hearing. This is from a 2021 sighting from a Navy pilot.
What are we observing?
What you see here is aircraft that is operating in a U.S. Navy training range that has observed spherical object in that area. And as they fly by it, they take a video. You see it looks reflective in this video, somewhat reflective, and it quickly passes by the cockpit of the aircraft.
Yeah, that moved really quickly. That's why I kept looping that video
Yeah,
there.
mhm.
Okay, so
I love
these
it.
stories, we hear about them all the time here on the island. So I just wanted to run through some of the most recent ones. One dating back just to March. We got a lot of calls about this unidentified object in the sky into the newsroom. Well, some calls to the FAA revealed that these little dots in the air over Oahu were balloons operated by Raven Aerospace, and often that's what these sightings are some sort of research balloon. And this is one of our most clicked on stories in recent years, this sighting on the west side in December of 2020. The person who took this video described it as being larger than a telephone pole, and they said it made no sound at all. That's spooky. And then there's one more, and this one's near and dear to my heart because I saw this UFO. Check that out. That was over Waikiki that same year in 2020. I think it was October. Those lights went over the sky. Really got a lot of people talking. But the mystery solved on this one. It turned out to be a crumbling rocket re-entry of a Russian rocket. But it was a show, that's for sure.
I bet that was trippy
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah. But now we know.
Yeah.
Now it's an explained object
Right,
in the sky. So.
right. Well, Michael Jackson fans, get this. A new album with MJ's music is coming out this fall. It's the 40th anniversary, can't believe that, of Jackson's classic Thriller album, the biggest selling album of all time. Now, Sony Music and the estate of Michael Jackson announced the release of Thriller 40. So this anniversary edition will include a double CD set. The first CD will have original album hits like Beat It, Thriller, and Billie Jean, and the second CD will include some of Jackson's never-released tracks. Thriller 40 due out November 18th.
Did you ever learn that dance?
The Thriller?
Yeah.
Parts of it, just by watching,
That's...
So...
Good news now.
Yes.
That would have been bad news.
Pickleball has been growing in popularity across the country, and many people have picked it up here in the in islands during the pandemic. Casey Lund has more from Diamond Head.
Well, data from the Sports and Fitness Industry Association shows participation in pickleball has almost doubled in the last 7 years, with nearly 5 million players nationwide. Follow me. We're here at the Don Andrews Tennis Complex at Diamond Head, and all that enthusiasm is driving competition for court space. A lot of these folks got here early and they're still waiting to play, and this isn't even a dedicated pickleball court. It's a tennis court that's been modified. These players have to bring their own pickleball net.
We definitely need more courts.
We do need more and more dedicated permanent net courts.
The city's Parks and Rec department heard those pleas, recently conducting a survey asking in part, which activities do you enjoy at city parks? More than 1,800 people replied, and you can see pickleball gaining ground on tennis. Both tennis and pickleball players responded in big numbers that the courts are too crowded. But the question remains, why is this sport surging right now in popularity? Today, members of our HNN Ohana sports reporter Kyle Chinen and Sunrise producer Kainoa Enos tried to figure that out.
What do you think? Let's get in it.
Now, it's a simple game, can be played with singles or doubles. A combination of ping pong, badminton, and tennis. You serve to the opposite side. Only the serving team can score. The first team to 11 points wins. And pickleball is so popular here, we made friends that turned into coaches.
When we balanced, so you can move right, left, forward, back.
And therein lies our possible explanation. Why pickleball and why now?
I love this sport because it's the people first. It just brings so many people, strangers, people from all over the islands as well as all over the world. And it's so easy to go ahead and pick up.
Ching says she expects the sport to only continue growing. She wants more courts, but the president of Oahu's premier pickleball group is dreaming bigger.
We need a home. We need a home for pickleball. And it's about time. The sport is just bursting at the seams. How many people are coming into this game? And we need like a pickleplex here.
The city's Parks and Rec department is currently digesting all the information they got from that survey. They'll eventually draft a new plan for rules. Will that include more dedicated pickleball courts? Only time will tell. Reporting at Diamond Head, I'm Casey Lund. Now back to you.
Case was showing off this morning.
Yeah, he's had some fun assignments this week.
Yep.
Go, Casey.
One last story, you guys. Hearts are breaking all over Hawaii. That's because People magazine reports Jason Momoa is dating. That's right. Several sources say inside the Momoa camp that the 32-year-old he's dating 32-year-old actress Isa Gonzalez. But everyone says they're basically having fun together. Nothing too serious right now.
All right, and he has a new movie coming out very soon, Fast and the Furious 100, or 10. All right, guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now on this Tuesday. Yeah, I know, the week's sort of going by a little slow, but we'll get there. We'll get to that weekend. Keep tracking your H&N digital platforms, though, for those chances of severe weather. If you haven't done it already, download the Severe Weather app. Looks like some rain is on the way. Guy Hoggy and the team will be keeping you updated. Have a good one.